What's up, y'all? I'm Tom. This is Like a Math Class. Let's do some optimization with differentiation. Optimization just means that you're going to minimize or maximize some quantity, something, by changing another value that is related to that first piece. Maybe as we change the height of something, it gets wider, or as we make something skinnier, it gets taller. So we've got these two things kind of working together and they're both changing simultaneously. So how do you optimize this? Well, we've got 5 steps for that. Step 1, find the relationship between these two variables, A and B, and note that they're often connected through some constraint or other equation. A constraint is just simply a value that we have already determined that we're going to use in equations, or something that says, hey, this can't be bigger than this, or it can't be smaller than this. Step 2 says to find the derivative and identify any maximum or minimum values. When you think of finding derivatives, that's finding like the x values on your graph, and those x values are where you're going to have your maximum or where you're going to have your minimum. If you don't know about finding derivatives and graphing those, check out this video here. That will help you out with a little bit of review. Step 3 says use sign diagrams with the first derivative or the second derivative to confirm the maximum or minimum values. Now, you don't have to necessarily do this step. A lot of times you're going to be given equations like maybe a quadratic or a cubic function where you already know how the function is going to look, so you may not need to do the sign diagrams for these. However, sometimes you're going to be given functions where you've got a mixture of a logarithm and a quadratic, and you don't exactly know how that's going to work out. And in that case, you're definitely going to want to use your sign diagrams to confirm what values you have. Step 4, check the endpoints of your domain for any other possible values or restrictions that you might have, and watch out for any asymptotes if that is applicable. That's pretty straightforward. It's just like it sounds. Make sure you're not using negative values where you can't use negative values. Make sure you're not using 0 where 0 isn't applicable. If we say we have to make this many things, make sure you're accounting for making that many things and looking at that value as well as the minimum and maximum. All of these different things. So you're just checking multiple values to see which one might be the minimum or maximum if it's not in the curve. In step 5, answer the question. So let's look at our first example. Our first example says find the dimensions of an open box with a square base that has a surface area of 192 centimeters, which maximizes the volume of the box. All right, so we're looking at what we're trying to do. First thing is we have to identify what are we trying to minimize or maximize. In this case, we're trying to maximize the volume. All right, so that's going to be our end goal. We know we're going to have to maximize the volume. Now, what kind of equations or constraints do we have finding this volume? So if we're trying to maximize the volume of a box, we already know that the volume of a box is equal to length times width times height. Along with that, we know as well that the base is a square, so those two measurements are going to be the same. We can call those x, we can call those L, we can call those h, we can call them whatever we want. And we also know our third value is going to be a height. So in this case, our volume, our length and our width are the same, and then we're going to multiply it by the height. That's going to give us the constraints of the box. By not having a different length and width, we've gotten it down to the x and the h. So that will be x squared times h. Now this also says that we have a surface area of 192 centimeters. So we know when we're trying to find the surface area, we've got to have the area of the base plus the area of the top. Well, but this has got an open top. It's got no top, so it's got the area of the base. So that's going to be x squared. And then we have to take the area of this side plus the back side, plus this side over here. And all of those are going to have the same dimensions, x by h, x by h. So we're going to have 4 of those x by h's. So now you might start seeing we're going to connect these things through some constraints, through some common variables. So here we've got x's and h's used in both equations, and we also know that the surface area of this whole thing is 192. So we can actually make this 192 equals x squared plus 4xh. So now really what we want to do is we want to try and get this down to two variables, because we said we wanted to have a quantity A and a quantity B. We want to have these two things related. So our quantity A, the thing that we're trying to minimize or maximize, is our volume. So that's going to be what we kind of consider quantity A from the beginning. So our volume is what we're going to try and maximize. And what we want to do now is we want to say, is there a way to look at this only in terms of the height or only in terms of the x, the width? And so as I'm looking at this equation here, I can isolate the h, and then I can put that whole thing back up into this equation here. So now everything will be in terms of x. So let's get h isolated. So we're going to have 192 minus x squared equals 4xh. And when we divide both sides by 4x, we're going to get h is equal to 192 minus x squared over 4x. Let's slide this over. So that means I can then take this and put it up into my equation here. So now my quantity A, the thing that I'm trying to maximize, is our volume. And the volume is going to be equal to x squared times 192 minus x squared all over 4x. So here we can see we've got everything in terms of one variable. This would be what we consider quantity B. So we've got quantity A, the volume, that's what we're trying to maximize. We've got quantity B, which is our width of the base, or the dimensions of the base, and that's going to determine, once we change those dimensions, the height will shrink, everything is going to move and adjust accordingly. So if we simplify this and find the derivative of this, then we're going to be able to find the maximum volume. So let's simplify this just a little bit. So our volume is going to equal 192x squared minus x to the fourth all over 4x. And if I start simplifying that a little bit, I'm going to get 48x. That's doing this piece here. And now I've got to simplify this piece. And I'm going to subtract 1/4 x cubed. Believe it or not, all of this up until this point here, this is all step number 1. Now step number 2 says find the derivative of A with respect to B, or in our case, volume with respect to x, and identify the minimum and maximum x values. So dv of dx is going to equal 48 minus 3/4 x squared. All right, so there's our derivative. And if we want to identify where these things are going to produce an x value that will create a minimum or a maximum, then we're going to set this thing equal to 0. So 48 minus 3/4 x squared. If I add 3/4 to both sides, 3/4 x squared equals 48. Let's get x squared by itself. And when we multiply both sides by 4/3, we're going to end up with 64. Check that on your calculator. Make sure I didn't do anything wrong there. And now when I take the square root of this, I'm going to get x is equal to plus or minus 8. This was all step number 2. Now step 3 says use the sign diagram to confirm that these things are minimums or maximums. So if I were to put this into a sign diagram, and I'm using -8 and +8, well, first off, if I jump ahead to step 4, I know that I actually can't go less than 0, because my domain, if I'm looking at what these values mean, that's the dimensions of this base. So I can't have a dimension smaller than 0. So if I kind of, like I said, if I kind of jump ahead, I need to have my value be greater than 0. So let's pick a number in between 0 and 8. I'm going to choose 1. So if I put 1 into my derivative, I'm going to have 48 minus 3/4 times 1 squared. Well, that's going to be 48 minus a small negative number, but that is going to end up being a positive number. So I'm going to be going up with my slope. And then if I choose a number bigger than 8, let's say I pick 10, now I've got 48 minus 3/4 of 10 squared. 10 squared is 100. 3/4 of 100 is 75, and that's going to be a negative, so that's a bigger negative than a positive, so that thing is going to be going down. And that's because I chose number 10 there. So right now I can even see at +8 I'm going up and then I'm going down. So this here should be my maximum value. So this was step number 3 and step number 4. So now all we need to do is we need to take this value of 8, which seems to be our maximum value, put it back into our equation so we can find the dimensions of this box. Now before we go on to step number 5, if I wanted to check this with the second derivative, if I wanted to use my second derivative test, that might actually be easier than some of the substitutions I did right here. Let's look what happens if I took the second derivative. The second derivative of this, d squared of v over dx squared, is going to be the derivative of this piece here. Well, I know that's going to be 0, so here I'm going to take 2, I'm going to multiply it out, and I'm left with negative 3 times 2 over 4 times x. That's going to equal negative 3 over 2x. Well, negative 3 over 2x, if that's my second derivative, and I know I want to use this x value, if I put that 8 into here, negative 3 over 2 times 8, that's going to give me a negative value. And a negative value with our second derivative means that we are concave down, which means we have a maximum value at the value of 8. So that might actually have been a little bit quicker than having to go through all of this piece up here, but either way, that's going to get us the same result, that this value of 8 is going to be our maximum value for x. So now we simply have to go back and drop the x value back into our equation to find the height, and we're good to go. So I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to put my 8 back in there. So 192 equals 8 squared plus 4 times 8 times h. 192 equals 64 plus 32h. I didn't leave myself a lot of room here. 192 minus 64 is 128 equals 32h. And when we divide both sides by 32, h is going to equal 4. Our dimensions for this are going to be the base, which is x, which is going to be 8 centimeters by 4 centimeters for our height. This is the dimensions that we're looking for. We're looking to find the dimensions of an open box. So there we go. We just found the dimensions of this box. 8 centimeters by 4 centimeters. That's what's going to give us the maximum volume for that box. We got one more example that we're going to try to maximize or minimize a value by building the whole equation itself. If this has been helpful for you so far, give me a thumbs up, like the video, and let's get to example 2. In example 2, we've got a rectangular plot of land that's enclosed by 180 meters of fence on 3 sides to make a garden. The 4th side runs along a stone wall. So we want to find the dimensions of the fence that we want to use using that stone wall as one of our sides, and then find the maximum area possible for that garden. All right, so let's go back again to step number 1. Let's figure out, what are we trying to do? We're trying to look at some wall. Maybe we've got some wall here. And then we're going to try and create some fence that's going around this thing, where we've got these two values being the same and this being its own measurement. Now we don't need to put a fence along here because that's already the stone wall. So all we've got are these 3 sides here that we need to work with. So it says that it's enclosed by 180 meters of fence. That's generally considered your perimeter. Our perimeter is equal to 180, and that is equal to 2w plus our length, L. And what we're trying to ultimately do is we're trying to maximize the area. So an area equation for a rectangle, the area is always equal to length times width. All right, so if this is the thing we're trying to maximize, we want to put these constraints into here. I think the easiest way to rearrange this would be to get L by itself. So L is going to equal 180 minus 2W. So that means our area then is going to be equal to 180 minus 2W times W. And you know what? I'm going to expand this. I'm going to multiply this out so that way I've got a slightly easier derivative to do for step 2. So we're going to have 180W minus 2W squared. All right, so now let's do step 2 where we're going to find the derivative of this function. So step 2 says dA of dx is going to equal 180 minus 4w. All right, so now we've got to get the w values that will give us a minimum or a maximum, which means we're going to set this thing equal to 0. So 180 minus 4w. Let's go up here. 4w equals 180, so that means that w is going to equal 45. All right, so if w equals 45, now we're going to go to step 3, and we're going to use the first or second derivative to confirm if this is a minimum or a maximum. So I'm going to take my number line here. I'm going to put 45 in the middle. Again, I can't go less than 0, so I want to pick a value between 0 and 45 in my first derivative. And if I put, let's do a nice easy number. Let's choose a value of 1. If I put 1 in here, 180 minus 4, of course I'm going to end up with a positive value. So that means this thing has got a slope going up. And then if I take a number bigger than 45, let's say 100, then I've got 180 minus 4 times 100, so that's minus 400. 180 minus 400, that's going to be a negative value. So this thing is going to be going down, and that was when I used a value of 100. So this is, again, this is going to be our maximum value. 45 is going to be our maximum value. Or, again, if I wanted to use the second derivative, this was our dA of dW. If I wanted to use the second derivative of this, instead of doing the first derivative, when I look at that, well, what is our second derivative? Our second derivative is just going to be negative 4. Oh, so that means for this whole thing, that means for this whole function, everything is always going to be concave down. So this is always going to be negative. So this is always going to be concave down, which means that this is going to be a maximum value. So that's kind of nice to know that I could do that as well. Again, it kind of speeds up the process. If you want, you could stop at just the first derivative, find where your slopes are positive or negative, or you could go straight through to your second derivative and then use your 0 of the first derivative in that second derivative to determine if it's positive or negative. Okay, so we've confirmed that it's a positive or negative. We've also done our domain check where we did that right here. So we did not go anything less than 0. We also could have said this thing has to be less than 180 as well. We could have 180. That would just be a straight line along this fence, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But we could see that too. And then so number 5 says to answer the question. So the first question says, find the dimensions of the fence. So if the width has to be 45, then L has to equal 180 minus 2 times 45. That's going to be 180 minus 90, which our length is then going to be 90. So our dimensions for this garden or for this fence is going to be 45 meters by 90 meters. All right, so then find the actual maximum area possible. Well, I just have to calculate these two things. And 45 by 90, 45 times 90 is 4050, and that's going to be meters squared. So there's our answer to the second equation. I hope that was helpful for you to try and find how we optimize using differentiation. Again, a lot of times you're going to be given the equation, so you just need to start running through this. You don't have to do that whole build-up process that we did for both of these. But it's good to know how to do that in case you ever do need to create that equation. If you don't need to create the equation, just identify what needs to be minimized or maximized. That should be the variable that's by itself. The other constraints are the things on the other side of the equation, and you take the derivative of this with respect to this, and that's going to help you find that maximum or minimum value. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.